This marriage was contractual, Stacy. A condition of my inheritance that had to be fulfilled. 2 years. That was the requirement. And you have fulfilled your purpose. So consider this check, a compensation for your time as my bed warmer. The pen scratches against the paper, the sound of a heart breaking in cursive. Roman's attorney slides a check across the table. Stacy stares at it, and something cold settles in her chest. This is what she's worth. This is the price tag on 2 years of loving a man who never loved her back. Generous settlement, the lawyer says, like he's commenting on the weather. Mr. Wellington has been more than fair. Fair. Stacy's hand closes around the check, crumpling it slightly. She wants to rip it into confetti and throw it in Roman's face. She wants to scream. She wants him to look at her, just once, and see what he's done. But she doesn't do any of that. Because Roman Wellington finally speaks, and his words are surgical, precise, designed to cut clean through to the bone. Bed warmer. 2 years of her life. 2 years of believing, no knowing, that beneath his cold exterior there was a man capable of love. 2 years of patiently waiting, of gentle persistence, of showing up every single day with hope in her hands. Bed warmer. The lawyers are shuffling papers. Roman is standing, buttoning his suit. The meeting is over. She is dismissed. And Stacy Martinez makes a choice that will change everything. She didn't cry or beg. She didn't ask him if any of it was real. She simply walks out of that 50th floor office overlooking Central Park and decides that Roman Wellington will never hurt her again. What she doesn't know is that in 14 days she'll discover she's carrying 3 pieces of him inside her body. And in 6 years, those 3 pieces will hijack an Uber, show up at his mansion with DNA test results, and blow both their worlds apart. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let me take you to where it all started. They say money can't buy happiness. They're wrong. Money can buy everything. Manhattan penthouses, private jets, politicians, silence, loyalty, even love if you're willing to pretend the transaction doesn't have terms and conditions. Roman Wellington knew this. He was born knowing it. Raised in the brutal mathematics of inherited wealth, where every relationship is an investment and every emotion is a liability. His grandfather, Harrison Wellington II, built an empire on a simple philosophy. Control everything. Trust nothing. Need no one. And when Harrison died, he left Roman $5.8 billion and a single condition. Marry before your 33rd birthday, stay married for 2 years, or the empire burns. Roman complied. He found a woman. Sweet, hopeful, 26-year-old Stacy Martinez. A pediatric nurse with gentle hands and eyes that still believed in fairy tales. She was perfect. Controllable but temporary. He married her in a private ceremony with exactly 12 witnesses and 0 emotion. And for 2 years, Roman Wellington played the role of husband with the same cold efficiency he brought to quarterly earnings reports. He provided financial security. He attended necessary social functions. He even managed physical intimacy with mechanical regularity. What he didn't do, what he refused to do, was fall in love. Because love, in Harrison Wellington's philosophy, was the most dangerous investment of all. And Roman was his grandfather's perfect student. Until the day he signed the divorce papers and destroyed the only real thing he'd ever had. Stacy picks up the pen, her hand shaking, and she hates that they can see it. Hates that even now, at the end of everything, she can't control the tremor of loss running through her fingers. Just sign, Stacy, Roman says. His voice is flat. Bored. He's already moved on, already calculating his next quarter, his next acquisition, his next carefully controlled manipulation of the world around him. The pen scratches across paper, each stroke a small erasure of hope. And then Roman speaks again, and the words land like a knife between her ribs. This marriage was contractual, Stacy. A condition of my inheritance that had to be fulfilled. 2 years. That was the requirement. He finally looks up from his phone, and his ice-blue eyes are arctic. You fulfilled your purpose. Consider this. He taps the check. Compensation for your time as my bed warmer. Bed warmer. The room goes silent. Even the lawyers look uncomfortable, exchanging glances that say too far, Wellington, even for you. But Roman doesn't care. He's already standing, already buttoning his jacket, already mentally in his next meeting. Stacy finishes signing. She stands, picks up the check with hands that have gone completely numb, and walks toward the door. Ms. Martinez, Whitmore calls after her. Do you have any questions about the settlement terms? She turns back. For just a moment, she looks directly at Roman Wellington, the man she loved with everything she had, the man who just called her a bed warmer, the man who is already checking his phone again like she's ceased to exist. No questions, she says quietly. We're done here. And she walks out. Here's what Stacy doesn't know as she rides the elevator down 50 floors, clutching that check like it's the only thing keeping her tethered to reality. Roman Wellington is lying. Not about the marriage being contractual. That part is true. Harrison Wellington's will explicitly required his grandson to marry and remain married for 2 years. It was the old man's final test, his last attempt to force Roman into something resembling human connection. But the rest of it? The cold dismissal? The calculated cruelty? The bed warmer, comment designed to cut her so deeply she'd never look back? That was self-preservation. Because somewhere in the middle of their 2-year arrangement, Roman Wellington made a catastrophic mistake. He fell in love with his wife. And when the 2-year mark hit, when his grandfather's requirement was fulfilled and the inheritance was secure, Roman faced a choice. Admit he'd developed feelings for Stacy Martinez, or double down on the emotional bankruptcy that had kept him safe his entire life. He chose safety. He chose control. He chose to hurt her so badly that she'd leave and never question whether any of it had been real. And as he watches her disappear into the elevator, Roman tells himself that he made the right choice, that he has protected himself, that he has maintained the Wellington family tradition of emotional unavailability and strategic detachment. What he doesn't know is that Stacy Martinez is carrying 3 reasons for him to regret every word he just said. But those reasons he won't know. And when he does, it will almost be too late. The apartment in Queens is 750 square feet of barely affordable survival. 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, a kitchen the size of a closet where the refrigerator door hits the stove when you open it all the way. The radiator clanks all night, and the upstairs neighbor has a bowling habit that apparently doesn't recognize the existence of business hours. But it's hers. Bought with her own money. Filled with her own things. No marble countertops. No designer furniture. No cold, expensive emptiness. Just home. Stacy is unpacking the last box when her phone rings. Mija. Her mother's voice comes through, warm and familiar and 1,000 miles away. How are you doing? I've fine, mama. You're lying. Stacy sits down on the floor, surrounded by half-unpacked boxes, and feels something crack in her chest. He called me a bed warmer, mama. There was silence on the other end of the line. Then, Dios mío, that man is. I know. You deserved so much better then. I know. If I was there, I would go to his fancy office and... Mama. Stacy is almost laughing now, even though she's also crying. You're in Arizona. And he has security. Very tight security. I would get past that security. I don't doubt it. Stacy said amidst laughter and tears. They're both quiet for a moment. Stacy, her mother says softer now. You know you can come home, right? Stay with me for a while. You don't have to be in New York anymore. I need to be here. My job is here. My life is here. Your life is wherever you make it, Mija. And that man, he doesn't get to decide what you're worth. I know. But she doesn't. Not really. Not yet. After they hang up, Stacy sits in her empty apartment and looks at the check still sitting on her counter. $130,000. Roman's attorney deposited it into her account 3 days ago. She hasn't touched it. Bed warmer. The words echo in her head on repeat, a loop of humiliation that won't stop playing. She gets up, takes 3 steps to the bathroom, and that's when she sees them. 3 pregnancy tests, lined up on the edge of the sink. She'd bought them yesterday in a moment of paranoid certainty. Her period is 2 weeks late, her breasts hurt, and she's been nauseous every morning for a week. It's just stress, she had told herself. Divorce stress. Life falling apart stress. But now, looking at those 3 tests, she knows. She knows before she takes them. She knows before she sees the results. She knows in the way women have always known, a deep, cellular certainty that her body is no longer just her own. 15 minutes later, Stacy Martinez is staring at 3 positive pregnancy tests with hands that won't stop shaking. Pregnant. Not just pregnant. The blood test the next day will confirm what the home test suggested. She's not carrying 1 baby. She's carrying 3. Triplets. Let's pause here for a moment and appreciate the cruel mathematics of biology. Roman Wellington, a man who spent 2 years having carefully calculated, emotionally detached relations with his wife, managed to impregnate her with triplets in what must have been their final encounter before the divorce. The universe has a sense of humor. A dark, twisted, slightly sadistic sense of humor. But we're getting ahead of ourselves again. Right now, Stacy Martinez is sitting on her bathroom floor, surrounded by positive pregnancy tests, trying to process the reality that she's carrying 3 pieces of the man who just destroyed her. 3 pieces of Roman Wellington are growing inside her body. 3 lives that will tie her to him forever. 3 children who will ask about their father. And Stacy has a choice to make. Maria Alvarez has been Stacy's best friend since nursing school. She's loud, opinionated, fiercely loyal, and currently pacing Stacy's tiny living room like a defense attorney preparing closing arguments. You have to tell him. Stacy sits on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, staring at nothing. Stacy. Stacy. Are you listening to me? You have to tell Roman you're pregnant. No. Those are his children. He called me a bed warmer, Maria. I know, and he's a piece of. What do you think he'd call them? Stacy's voice is quiet, but there's steel underneath. If he thought I was disposable, what do you think he'd think about 3 babies he never wanted? Maria stops pacing. You don't know that. Yes, I do. Stacy. He would either reject them completely or worse. Stacy's hands moved to her still flat stomach, protective already. He'd try to take them away from me. He has money. Power. Lawyers. I have 750 square feet in Queens and $50,000 in student debt. You have that settlement, which I'm not touching. Why not? Because I don't want anything from him. Not anymore. Maria sits down beside her, and her voice softens. What are you going to do? Stacy is quiet for a long time. Then, my mother called yesterday. She has cancer. What? Stage 3. Pancreatic. Treatment is going to cost over $200,000. Her insurance won't cover most of it. Maria's face crumbles. Oh, Stacy. So I'm going to use Roman's settlement money for my mother. And I'm going to raise these babies by myself. And Roman Wellington will never know they exist. That's not fair to. Fair. Stacy looks at her friend, and her eyes are dry now, all the tears burned away. He ended our marriage by telling me I was a bed warmer. He doesn't get to have an opinion on fairness. Those children have a right to know their father. And I have a right to protect them from a man who sees people as transactions. Stacy. I've made up my mind, Maria. I'm doing this alone. And she does. Raising triplets as a single mother in New York City is not a romantic comedy. It's not a feel-good Instagram story with perfect lighting and inspirational captions. It's brutal, relentless, exhausting reality punctuated by moments of pure joy so intense they make all the suffering worthwhile. Stacy works 2 jobs. Pediatric nurse at Mount Sinai by day, medical transcription from home at night. She sleeps in 90-minute increments between feeding schedules. Her mother moves in from Arizona after finishing treatment. In remission now, thank God, and becomes the reason Stacy doesn't collapse completely. 3 babies. 3 sets of needs. 3 distinct personalities emerging from identical faces. Abel cries precisely every 3 hours. Like clockwork. Like he's already calculating optimal feeding schedules. Zita watches everything with dark, observant eyes. She's quiet until she's not. And when she's not, it's because she's figured something out. Davina is all smiles and grabbing hands. She wants to be held constantly, and she'll charm anyone within a 10-foot radius into doing it. Stacy learns to function on coffee and determination. She learns to change 3 diapers simultaneously. She learns that love multiplies in ways that don't make mathematical sense. Loving 3 children doesn't divide her heart into thirds. It somehow triples its capacity. But she's so tired. Every day she's so tired. The triplets start walking within days of each other. This is not a blessing. This is chaos theory made flesh. Stacy's mother laughs at all of it. They're exactly like you were, she says. I was 1 child, Mama. This is 3. Yes. You're paying for my suffering times 3. They celebrate the triplets' 2nd birthday in their tiny apartment. 20 people crammed into 750 square feet. The fire marshal would have a heart attack. Stacy makes the cake herself. 3 layers, 3 colors, 3 names. No one asks about the children's father. Everyone knows better. The triplets start preschool. And she has no idea how she's going to afford their futures. Money is tight. Tighter than tight. Stacy picks up extra shifts. Her mother watches the kids, but she's getting older, getting tired, and Stacy sees it even though her mother won't admit it. The triplets need new shoes, new clothes, school supplies, birthday presents for the constant stream of birthday parties they're invited to because they're social butterflies who somehow know every child in Queens. Stacy opens a savings account labeled College Fund. She deposits $20. But it's not enough. It's nowhere near enough. But it's something. She thinks about Roman's money, the settlement she hasn't touched, sitting in an account collecting interest. Blood money, she calls it. But late at night, when she's balancing the checkbook and the numbers don't add up, she thinks about it. She doesn't touch it. She won't touch it. But she thinks about it. The triplets turn 5. They're kindergartners now, brilliant and chaotic, and so completely themselves that Stacy sometimes forgets they came from a marriage that never should have happened. Abel is obsessed with science. He has a microscope, thrift store find, and a collection of rocks he's studying. He talks about molecular structures at breakfast. Zita is the strategist. She negotiates extra TV time. She trades snacks like a Wall Street trader. She's already reading chapter books and taking notes. Davina is the artist. She draws constantly, people, places, feelings. The apartment is covered in her work. She's also the emotional one, crying at movies and hugging strangers and asking deep questions like, why don't we have a daddy? And that's when everything changed. It was a Tuesday night. Dinner is chicken nuggets and vegetables that no one is eating because Stacy is too tired to fight about it. Davina is drawing at the table, a picture of their family. Stacy, Grandma, Abel, Zita, Davina. Then she adds another figure. Taller. Standing apart from the group. Mommy, Davina says, not looking up from her drawing. Why don't we have a daddy? The apartment goes quiet. Abel stops examining his chicken nugget under the light. Zita looks up from her book, suddenly very interested. Stacy's mother makes a noise in her throat, a warning or a prayer, it's hard to tell. You do have a daddy, Stacy says carefully, buying time. Everyone has a daddy. But where is ours? Davina insists. He's very busy. And far away. How far? Abel wants specifics. Very far. But why? Davina's eyes are filling with tears now. Doesn't he want to see us? Stacy's heart cracks. Baby, it's complicated. Everyone at school has daddies, Zita observes, and there's something in her voice, something calculating. Why don't we? You have me, Stacy says. And Grandma. And we love you so much. But what's his name? Abel presses. Why doesn't he visit? Davina asks. Can we call him? Zita wants to know. The questions come faster, overlapping, 3 voices demanding answers that Stacy can't give without destroying everything she's built to protect them. Enough. Stacy's voice is firmer than she feels. We're not talking about this right now. But, I said enough. The triplets go quiet, but they exchange looks. Stacy sees it. That silent communication that happens between them, like they're on the same wavelength. They're not done with this conversation. They're just tabling it. And Stacy should be worried about that look. She should be very worried. But she's too exhausted to decode it. And tomorrow she has a double shift, and the rent is due, and there are permission slips to sign and lunches to pack, and 100 other things demanding her attention. So she misses it. She misses the exact moment her 5-year-old children decide to take matters into their hands. It's 10 p.m. Stacy thinks the triplets are asleep. But no, they're not. They're huddled around Zita's bed with a laptop they've borrowed from Grandma's room. Okay, Zita whispers, opening the browser. We need to find him. How? Davina asks. We start with Mom's name. People always put their marriages online. Abel nods. Facebook. Instagram. Public records. These are 5-year-olds. 5-year-olds who sound like tiny detectives planning a heist. Zita types, Stacy Martinez married. The results load. And there it is, buried 3 pages deep, a Society page article from 2015. Wellington heir marries in private ceremony. There's a photo. Stacy in a simple white dress. And beside her, a man in an expensive suit with ice blue eyes. Roman Wellington, CEO of Wellington Group, with his new bride Stacy Martinez. That's him, Abel breathes. That's our dad, Davina whispers. Zita is already clicking through to Roman's professional page. Roman Wellington. CEO, Wellington Group. Net worth, $5.80 billion. Headquarters, Manhattan, New York. Residence, private estate, Detroit. The children stare at the screen. Our dad is a billionaire. Abel's voice is small. Why didn't Mom tell us? Davina looks like she's about to cry. Zita is quiet, her mind working. Then, she was protecting us. From what? I don't know yet. But we're going to find out. How? Abel wants logistics. We need proof first. DNA proof. Where do we get that? Zita pulls up another tab. Amazon. I saw a documentary about DNA testing. You can order kits. With what money? Mom's credit card. We'll say it's for a school project. That's lying, Davina says. It's investigating, Zita corrects. Abel considers this. What's the plan after we get proof? Then, Zita says, and her eyes gleam with determination that's unsettling in a 5-year-old. We go meet him. How? He's in Detroit. Uber. Both siblings stare at her. We can't take an Uber to Detroit, Abel says. We're 5. We'll figure it out. But first, we need the DNA test. When? Davina whispers. Zita looks at the calendar on her desk. There's a big red circle around December 24th. Christmas Eve, she says. When Mom works her night shift. That gives us time to plan, get the test results, and figure out logistics. That's almost a month away, Abel calculates. Good. We'll need it. The 3 children look at each other, a silent agreement passing between them. They're going to find their father. Whether their mother approves or not. The DNA kit arrives in a discreet package. Zita intercepts it from the mail pile before Stacy gets home. 23andMe Ancestry plus Health. The instructions are simple enough for a 5-year-old genius to follow. We need his DNA, Abel says, studying the swab kit. We don't have his DNA, Davina points out. Yes, we do. Zita goes to her mother's room. The one place they're not supposed to go without permission. She opens the closet, digs past the shoes and winter coats. There, in a box labeled miscellaneous, she finds it. One photograph. Stacy in a wedding dress, smiling like she believes in happy endings. Roman beside her, not smiling but present. The frame is old, dusty, and inside, pressed behind the photo, is a small white envelope. Zita opens it. A lock of dark hair. A tiny note in Stacy's handwriting, our wedding day. She kept it, Davina breathes. She still has his hair. Which means she still loves him, Abel observes. Or she did. Or she wanted us to have it someday, Zita says. They carefully extract 3 strands of hair. They seal them in the DNA kit according to instructions. And they send it off, using their birthday money for expedited shipping. Then they wait. Here's what happens in the next 3 weeks. The DNA test results come back. 99.9% probability of paternal match. The triplets create a file folder labeled Operation Meet Dad. Inside, DNA test results, printed from Stacy's computer. Their birth certificates, photocopied from the filing cabinet. Photos of themselves, school pictures from this year. A carefully written letter that Davina composed and all 3 signed. They research Uber policies. They discover that technically, children can't ride alone. But they also discover that if you have the app, a credit card, and a destination, you can order a ride. Abel calculates the distance. Queens to Roman's Detroit estate is 634 miles. 8 to 9 hours by car. The Uber would cost approximately $1,200. They have $347 between them. Birthday money, allowance saved, and coins collected from the couch cushions. It's not enough. We'll figure it out, Zita says. We always do. They choose Christmas Eve for 3 strategic reasons. 1. Their mother works the night shift at the hospital, double pay, she never says no. 1. Grandma will be visiting her sister in New Jersey, annual tradition. 1. Roman Wellington will be home. They've studied his social media enough to know he always spends Christmas Eve at his estate. It's the perfect storm of opportunity. And these 3 5-year-olds are about to hijack a rideshare app and blow up their entire family. December 24th, 4 p.m. Stacy is getting ready for her shift, pulling on scrubs and trying to ignore the guilt of working on Christmas Eve. I'm so sorry, babies, she says for the 10th time. I'll be home first thing tomorrow morning, and we'll open presents, Anne. Mom, we're fine, Zita says. You need to go. Grandma's coming, right? She'll be here at 4:30. We always behave, Abel says, which is not technically true but not technically false either. Stacy kisses each of them. I love you all so much. We love you too, Mommy, Davina says, hugging her tight. And Stacy leaves, completely unaware that she's just walked into the last moments of the life she's carefully constructed. At 4:30, Grandma calls. Mija, I'm so sorry my sister fell. I'm at the hospital with her now. She's okay, but do you need to stay? Just for tonight. I can't leave her alone. Can you? I'm already at work, Mama. I can't leave. What about the kids? Stacy looks at the clock. She's on shift for the next 12 hours. She can't leave. She needs this pay. They'll be fine, she hears herself say. They're 5. They can handle a few hours alone. It's a terrible decision. She knows it's a terrible decision. But she's a single mother working 2 jobs, and sometimes terrible decisions are the only options available. Call me every hour, Grandma insists. I will. Stacy hangs up and tries to call the triplets. No answer. She texts, I need you to answer when I call. Every hour. Please, asterisk asterisk. 3 dots appear. Zite, ok mum. We're fine. Love you, asterisk asterisk. And Stacy tries to ignore the feeling in her gut that something is about to go very, very wrong. The triplets are dressed in their grown-up clothes. Abel wears a button-down shirt and his smart pants. Zita has on a dress that makes her look at least 7. Davina is wearing her church outfit with her hair in neat pigtails. They've packed a backpack with the DNA results, their birth certificates, snacks because it's a long drive, the letter they wrote, their piggy banks. Zita has her mother's phone, stolen when Stacy was getting ready for work. She opens the Uber app, types in the destination, Wellington Estate, Detroit, Michigan. The app loads. Estimated cost, $1,247. She only has $347. It's going to decline, Abel says. I know. So what's the plan? We offer what we have. And we ask the driver to trust us. That's not a plan. It's the only plan we have. Zita requests the ride. 5 minutes later, a Honda Civic pulls up. The driver, Miguel Rodriguez, 42, father of 4, looks at the 3 children standing on the sidewalk with a backpack and immediately knows something is wrong. He rolls down the window. "Where are your parents?" Miguel Rodriguez stares at the 3 children standing on the sidewalk with a backpack and enough determination in their eyes to make him nervous. "Where are your parents?" he asked them again. Zita stepped forward. The natural leader, the one who planned this entire operation with the precision of a military general who happens to be 5 years old. "Our father is expecting us," she said, and her voice doesn't waver. "We have the address. We have money. And we need a ride." Miguel looked at his app. The destination is Detroit, Michigan. 8 hours and 43 minutes. Over 600 miles. "That's going to cost over $1,200, he said slowly. "The app won't even let me." "We have $347, Abel interrupts, pushing his glasses up his nose. "We know it's not enough. But we can get more when we arrive. Our father will pay you." "Your father?" "Roman Wellington," Zita says, and she pulled out her phone, Stacy's phone, showing him a Forbes article with Roman's picture. "CEO of Wellington Group. Net worth $5.8 billion. He'll pay you back." Miguel looked at the article, then at the children, then at the article again. "This is insane. This is absolutely insane. Where's your mother?" "Working," Davina said quietly. "She doesn't know we're here." And that's what convinced him. Not the money, not the billionaire father, but the quiet pain in that little girl's voice when she says her mother doesn't know. Miguel has 4 daughters of his own. He knows that particular brand of sadness. He knows what it means when children take desperate measures. "Get in the car," he said. "Before you judge Miguel Rodriguez for agreeing to transport 3 unaccompanied minors across state lines, let me tell you something about desperation recognizing desperation." Miguel works 16-hour days driving Uber to support his family. His wife has MS. His eldest daughter needs braces, and his youngest has a learning disability that requires expensive therapy. He understands what it means to love someone so much you'd do something crazy just to be near them. So when 3 5-year-olds with determination climbed into his back seat, he made a choice. He's going to get them to Detroit. And then he's going to have a very serious conversation with Roman Wellington about child support. The Honda Civic merges onto I-80 West, and the triplets settle in for the longest car ride of their lives. Abel pulled out a notebook. "At current speed, accounting for traffic and rest stops, we should arrive at approximately 1:47 a.m. "That's really late," Davina whispers. "Christmas morning," Zita corrects. "It's strategic. He'll be in a good mood." "What if he's not in a good mood?" Davina's voice getting smaller. "Then we will show him the DNA results, and he won't have a choice." Miguel glances in the rearview mirror. "You kids really thought this through, huh?" "We had a month to plan," Zita said matter-of-factly. "A month. Since we found out who our father was." "And your mother doesn't know you found out?" There was silence from the back seat. "Miguel Said. She's going to lose her mind when she finds out you're gone. We left a note," Abel offers. "What does the note say?" "We have gone to meet Dad. We'll be back soon. Love you." Miguel laughs. He can't help it. "Yeah, that's not going to help." "Should we have written more?" Davina asks, suddenly worried. "No, chiquita. I don't think any amount of words would make this okay." They drive in silence for a while. Then Abel asked, "Do you think he'll be happy to see us?" And Miguel doesn't know how to answer that. Because he's seen the Forbes article. He's read the profile on Roman Wellington, cold, calculating, emotionally unavailable billionaire who treats relationships like hostile takeovers. This could go very, very wrong. "I think," Miguel said carefully, "that any man would be lucky to have you 3 as his kids." It's not an answer. But it's all he's got. Stacy's phone buzzes. She's in the middle of an 4 placement, but she checks it quickly during a break. "Mom, are the kids doing okay?" She tried calling the apartment, but no answer. She texted, "Answer the phone. Now." 3 dots appear. "Zita, we're fine, Mom. We were playing games." And the phone was on silent. Something feels off, but Stacy can't explain it. Mother's intuition maybe, but something in that text doesn't feel right. She called again. This time, someone answers. Hello. Zita's voice, slightly out of breath. Why didn't you answer before? We were playing hide and seek. Saw thee. Where's Abel and Davina? Right here. Want to talk to them? Yes. There was a shuffling sounds. Then Abel's voice came through. Imom. You okay, baby? Yes. We're fine. Let me talk to Davina. More shuffling. Then Davina comes on, and she sounds like she's been crying. Imummi. What's wrong? Are you crying? I just miss you. Stacy's heart clenches. I miss you too, baby. I'll be home in the morning, I promise. Okay. Be good. All of you. We will. Stacy hang up, but that feeling of wrongness doesn't go away. But she's got 6 patients waiting, and Christmas Eve in an emergency room is chaos, and she doesn't have time to interrogate her instincts. I will call back in an hour, that she said to herself. Here's what Stacy doesn't know. That phone call was completely staged. The triplets recorded their voices before they left, short phrases like, "Hi Mom," and "We're fine," and "playing games," and played them through the phone while Zita did most of the talking. They are 5-year-olds. Criminal masterminds. There's honestly not much difference. The Wellington estate sits on 43 acres of perfectly manicured grounds just outside Detroit. It's not a house. It's a compound. Glass and steel and architectural statements. 14,000 square feet of temperature-controlled emptiness. 7 bedrooms. 9 bathrooms. A home theater. A gym. An indoor pool. And one man living there alone. Roman Wellington stands in his study, looking at a foundation proposal for his latest project. The Second Chance Foundation, providing resources for single mothers. It's been running for 18 months now. They've helped over 300 families. Given women opportunities they never thought they'd have. Roman tells himself this is business. Strategic philanthropy. Good PR. But late at night, when he's alone, he knows the truth. He's trying to make up for Stacy. Trying to fix what he broke by helping women in similar situations. Trying to prove to himself that he's changed, even though the one person who needed to see that change disappeared 6 years ago. His phone buzzed. It was his assistant, Caroline. The holiday party vendor is here for setup. Should I let them in? Yes. You're still planning to attend? Caroline asked. It's 20 people, Caroline. Hardly a party. He replied. Caroline, 20 business associates on Christmas Eve is still depressing, sir. Noted. He sets his phone down and looked around his study. Roman pours himself 2 fingers of scotch, 30-year-old Macallan, because why drink anything else when you're worth $5.8 billion and have no one to share it with? He thinks about Stacy every single day. Where is she? Did she remarry? Is she happy? Does she ever think about him? Does she know he tried to find her? That he hired investigators who came back empty because Stacy Martinez apparently vanished into New York City's 8 million people and stayed vanished? Roman took a sip of scotch and told himself, for the 1000th time, that he made the right choice 6 years ago. That pushing her away was protecting both of them. That he's better off alone. He almost believes it. Back at the hospital, Stacy Martinez just tried to call her children for the 2nd time. And no one answered. The phone was ringing and ringing, but no answer. Stacy tried again, and it went straight to voicemail. Her hands started shaking. She texted them. Answer the phone right now. But no response. Then she called her mother. Mama, can you call the apartment? The kids aren't answering. I'm at the hospital with Rosa, remember? I know, but can you try? Mija, they're probably sleeping. At 8 p.m.? On Christmas Eve. Her mother was quiet. Then, you want me to send someone to check on them? No, yes, I don't know. Stacy, you're panicking. Her mother said. They're 5 years old and alone in the apartment and not answering the phone. Call the neighbor. Mrs. Chun. She has a key. Okay. Stacy called. And Mrs. Chun agrees to check. 10 minutes later, 10 minutes that feel like 10 hours, Mrs. Chen called back. Stacy, honey? The apartment is empty. There's no one here. The world stopped. What? There's no one here. I checked every room. They're gone. That's impossible. There's a note on the kitchen table. It says, "Gone to meet Dad. Back soon. Love you." Stacy dropped her phone. They left a note saying they've gone to meet their dad. She never told them who their father is. Which means they figured it out themselves. Which means they're either A. Lost somewhere in New York City. B. Trying to get to Detroit. C. Already at Roman Wellington's doorstep. And Stacy has no idea which option is worse. She ran to the nurse in charge. "I have to leave. It's an emergency. You're in the middle of a shift. My children are missing." The entire ER goes quiet. "Call the police," the nurse said immediately. "We'll cover your patients." Stacy dials 911 with hands that won't stop shaking. "My children are missing. 3 5-year-olds. They left a note." "Ma'am, how long have they been gone?" "I don't know, less than 3 hours." "That's not long enough for a missing persons. They're 5 years old." "Ma'am, I understand you're upset, but children wandering off." "They didn't wander off. They planned this. They said they're going to meet their father." "And where is the father?" "Detroit. Michigan." "Yes." "Ma'am, are you saying you think 3 5-year-olds traveled to Detroit?" And Stacy realizes how insane this sounds. But she also knows her children. "Yes," she says. "That's exactly what I'm saying." The triplets were getting restless. They've been in the car for 3 hours. They've eaten all their snacks. They've played every road game Abel can invent. And the reality of what they've done is starting to sink in. "Mom's going to be so mad," Davina whispers. "She'll understand," Zita said, but she sounds less certain than before. "Will she?" Abel looked up from his calculations. "We stole her phone. We lied to her. We got in a stranger's car." "Mr. Miguel isn't a stranger," Davina interrupted. "He's nice. He's a stranger Mom doesn't know about," Abel corrects. Miguel glances in the rearview mirror. "Your brother's got a point, Chiquita." "We had to," Zita insists. "She wasn't going to tell us. She was never going to tell us." "Maybe she had a reason," Miguel suggests gently. "What reason is good enough to keep us from our father?" And Miguel doesn't have an answer for that. Because he doesn't know what Roman Wellington said to Stacy Martinez 6 years ago. All he knows is that 3 children are desperate enough to hijack an Uber to meet a man who doesn't know they exist. And that desperation? It breaks his heart. "We're going to stop for gas soon," he said. "You kids need anything?" "Bathroom," all 3 say simultaneously. "And maybe more snacks," Davina added hopefully. "Miguel Ismail." "Snacks we can do." The truck stop is fluorescent bright and half empty. A liminal space of buzzing lights and long-haul truckers grabbing coffee at ungodly hours. Miguel pulls up to pump number 7 and turns to face the triplets. "Bathroom break," he announces. "And we need to talk about what happens when we get there." The children pile out, stretching legs that have been cramped in the back seat for 3.5 hours. Inside the convenience store, fluorescent lights make everything look slightly unreal. The triplets headed for the bathroom while Miguel buys coffee and more snacks. He has a feeling this is going to be a very long night. When they emerge, Davina is carrying a stuffed penguin she found near the toy display. "Can we get this?" she asked, holding it up. "For Dad. As a gift." Miguel looked at the price tag. $14.99. "You sure you want to spend your money on a gift for someone you've never met?" "He's our dad," Davina says simply, as if this explains everything. And maybe it does. Miguel paid for the penguin along with chips, candy, juice boxes, and the growing sense that he's witnessing something much bigger than a simple family reunion. Back in the car, Abel pulled out his notebook again. 4 hours and 22 minutes remaining, he calculates. Arrival time, approximately 1:30 a.m. "That's really late to show up at someone's house," Miguel observes, merging back onto the highway. "Christmas morning," Zita corrects. "Technically. Still, your father doesn't know you're coming. He doesn't even know you exist. You're going to give this man a heart attack." We have proof, Zita said, patting the backpack. DNA doesn't lie. DNA isn't the problem, Mija. The problem is that people are complicated. And in this situation, this is very, very complicated. Do you think he'll be happy to see us? Davina, quietly. Miguel glances in the rearview mirror. The little girl is hugging her stuffed penguin, and her eyes are starting to show the first signs of doubt. Honestly, I don't know. But I think any father would be lucky to have you three. But our dad isn't any father, Abel said. He is wealth. Rich people are different. How so? They don't need people. They have money instead. Miguel is quiet for a moment, processing the fact that a 5-year-old just delivered one of the saddest observations about wealth he's ever heard. Money can't replace people, he said finally. No matter how much you have. Mom said that too, Zita murmurs. She said Dad tried to replace her with money, and it didn't work. Smart woman, your mom. She's going to be so mad when she finds out what we did. Oh, she's going to be furious, Miguel agrees. Nuclear-level furious. Will she forgive us? Davina's voice is very small. Eventually. Because that's what mothers do. They love you even when you do insane things like hijack ride shares to meet your father. The triplets are quiet, processing this. Then Abel asked, Mr. Miguel, do you have kids? I have 4 daughters, he answered. Do they ever do crazy things? All the time. Last month, my oldest decided to dye her hair purple without asking. My youngest tried to adopt a stray dog by hiding it in her closet for 3 days. Davina giggles. Did you get mad? Very mad. And then I helped her find a good home for the dog because she was trying to do something kind, just in a very bad way. Are we doing something kind in a bad way? Abel wants to know. Miguel considers this. I think you're doing something brave in a scary way. Which is different. But still bad. Your mom will think so. But you don't. I think, Miguel says carefully, that children shouldn't have to hijack cars to meet their fathers. But I also think that if a father is out there and doesn't know his kids exist, maybe he should. They drive in silence for a while, the Pennsylvania darkness stretching out on either side of the highway like a held breath. Stacy is in a hospital stairwell, her phone pressed to her ear, and she's calling every person she can think of. She called her mother. I'm still at the hospital with Rosa. Should I come back to the city? No, Mama. Stay with Rosa. I'm handling it. Maria. What do you mean they're gone? I mean they left a note saying they went to meet their father, and I have no idea where they are. Oh my God. Oh my God. Have you called Roman? I don't have his number. I haven't spoken to him in 6 years. Can you find him? He's a billionaire, Maria. He has people specifically hired to make sure random women can't just call him. They're 5 years old. But we can send an officer to take a statement. By the time you send an officer, they could be in another state. Ma'am, I understand you're upset, but... Stacy hangs up. She pulled up Google with shaking hands and types. Roman Wellington contact information. What comes up was his company's general line, his corporate email, his assistant's voicemail. Nothing direct. Nothing personal. Nothing that will get her through to him in the middle of the night on Christmas Eve. She tried the company's main number anyway. Wellington Group, this is the after-hours answering service. I need to speak with Roman Wellington. It's an emergency. I'm sorry, but Mr. Wellington is unavailable. If you'd like to leave a message. This is about his children. There was a pause. I'm sorry, could you repeat that? His children. 3 of them. They're missing, and I think they're on their way to him. Ma'am, Mr. Wellington doesn't have children. Yes, he does. He just doesn't know about them. And I need to reach him now. Another pause. I'll transfer you to his head of security. All right then. Wellington Security, this is Marcus. Stacy explains the situation again, her voice cracking with each word. Ma'am, Marcus says slowly, are you saying that 3 children are claiming to be Mr. Wellington's offspring? They're not claiming. They are. I can prove it. DNA tests, birth certificates, everything. But right now they're missing, and I think they're trying to get to his house in Detroit. How would 3 5-year-olds get to Detroit? I don't know. Uber maybe? A bus? I don't know what they're thinking. Marcus is quiet, and Stacy can hear him typing. What's your name, ma'am? Stacy Martinez. More typing. And you were married to Mr. Wellington? 6 years ago. We were married for 2 years. I see. His tone has changed, become more professional. Ms. Martinez, I'm going to need to verify some information. Can you provide? I don't have time for verification. My children are out there somewhere, and every minute I'm on the phone with you is a minute I'm not looking for them. I understand, but I can't just give you direct access to Mr. Wellington without. They're his children. Stacy is screaming now, and everyone in the hospital stairwell can hear her, and she doesn't care. They took an Uber to meet him because I never told them who their father was, and now they're gone, and I need to find them. Ms. Martinez, please calm down. Don't tell me to calm down. Don't you dare tell me to calm down. Just tell him that if 3 kids show up at his house tonight, they're his. And they're mine. And I'm coming to get them. She hangs up before he can respond. He pulls up every piece of information he can find on Stacy Martinez. Marriage license confirmed. Married to Roman Wellington, December 2015. Divorced, December 2017. Hospital records. 3 children born June 2018, 8 months after the divorce. Names, Abel, Zita, and Davina Martinez. DMV records, Stacy Martinez, current address in Queens. School records. 3 children enrolled in kindergarten at PS 122 in Queens. Recent credit card activity. 1 Uber charge, 5:15 p.m. today, from Queens to Detroit. $847. Still pending. Marcus stares at this information for a full 30 seconds. Then he called Roman Wellington. Roman was in his study, reviewing the Foundation's quarterly impact report, when his phone buzzes. Marcus doesn't call unless it's urgent. What is it? Sir, I just received a very strange phone call. Strange how? A woman named Stacy Martinez claims to be your ex-wife. Roman goes very still. What did she want? She said 3 children, her children, are missing. She believes they're on their way to your residence. She also claims they're your children. The room tilts. That's impossible. Sir, I ran a background check. Stacy Martinez was married to you from 2015 to 2017. She has 3 children, born June 2018, 8 months after your divorce. Roman's mind is racing, calculating, trying to process. 8 months after the divorce. Which means Stacy was pregnant when he signed the papers. Which means, there's more, Marcus continues. I found a pending Uber charge on her credit card from Queens to your Detroit address. $847. Requested at 5:15 p.m. Eastern Time. $847, Roman repeats. That's the approximate cost of a ride from Queens to Detroit. Yes, sir. 3 5-year-olds took an Uber? According to the credit card activity, yes. Roman sets down his scotch with a hand that's suddenly unsteady. When will they arrive? If they left at 5:15, accounting for traffic and stops, approximately 1:30 to 2 a.m. Roman looks at his watch. 9:47 p.m. 4 hours. In 4 hours, he's going to meet children he didn't know existed. Children Stacy kept from him for 5 years. Children who apparently wanted to meet him badly enough to hijack a rideshare service and cross state lines. Should I turn them away at the gate? Marcus asks. No. Sir. They're children, Marcus. 5-year-olds. If they went through all this trouble to meet me, Roman's voice catches. Let them in. And Ms. Martinez? She said she's coming to get them. Let her in too. When she arrives. This could be. I know what this could be. Do it anyway. Roman hangs up. Then he sits in his study, alone, as he's been alone for 6 years, and tries to process the fact that everything he thought he knew about his life just exploded. Stacy was pregnant. She was pregnant when I called her a bed warmer. She was pregnant when I threw money at her and told her she'd fulfilled her purpose. She was pregnant, and I destroyed her and she never told me. And underneath that, a darker question. Would I have changed anything if I'd known? The man he was 6 years ago? Probably not. He might have offered more money. Might have set up a trust fund. Might have arranged structured visits like a business meeting. But love them? Be a father? Show up? No. That man wasn't capable of it. But Roman has spent 5 years becoming someone different. Someone who started a foundation for single mothers because he couldn't fix what he broke with Stacy. Someone who goes to charity galas and listens to stories of women struggling alone and thinks I did that to someone. And now those abstractions are about to become very, very real. Because in less than 4 hours, Roman Wellington is going to come face to face with 3 pieces of Stacy Martinez. 3 children who don't know him. 3 children who, for some incomprehensible reason, want to know him anyway. What do you say to children you didn't know existed? How do you explain to a 5-year-old that you didn't abandon them? You just never knew they were there. How do you look into their eyes and not see an accusation? Roman doesn't know. But he's about to find out. The triplets have been asleep for the last hour. Miguel drives through the Ohio darkness, nursing his 3rd coffee, and thinking about what's going to happen when they arrive. He's driven a lot of people to a lot of places. Drunk people to their homes. Sad people to airports. Happy people to weddings. But he's never driven 3 children to meet a father who doesn't know they exist. This is either going to be the most beautiful reunion he's ever witnessed, or the most devastating, and he has no idea which. At 11:47, Abel wakes up. Where are we? About an hour and a half from Detroit. Mom knows by now. Yeah, she's probably really scared. Definitely. We should have thought about that more. Miguel glances in the rearview mirror. You think. I calculated the probability that she'd panic. But I didn't calculate how much she'd panic. That was a mistake. Emotions are hard to calculate. I'm learning that. Abel is quiet for a moment. Mr. Miguel? What if he doesn't want us? Why wouldn't he want you? Because Mom never told him about us. Which means she thought he wouldn't want us. Which means he probably won't. Or, Miguel suggests gently, it means your mom was protecting you from someone who hurt her very badly. But what if she was right to protect us? Then you'll deal with it. Together. As a family. Just Mom and us? That's still a family, Mijo. A really good one. Abel thinks about this. But we want him too. Is that wrong? No. It's not wrong to want your father. Even if he doesn't deserve us? Miguel's heart breaks a little. Listen to me. Nobody gets to decide whether they deserve you. You're not a reward or a punishment. You're people. And if your father can't see how lucky he is to have you, that's his loss. Not yours. You sound like Mom. Your mom sounds like a smart woman. She is. Abel adjusts his glasses. I hope we didn't mess everything up. Kid, you definitely messed everything up. That's not helpful. But you did it because you wanted something important. And sometimes messing things up is the only way to fix them. That doesn't make mathematical sense. Family doesn't make mathematical sense. That's what makes it family. Stacy borrowed a car from a coworker. Actually begged for a car from a coworker while crying in the hospital parking lot. And is now driving through the night toward Detroit. She's been driving for 2.5 hours. She has 5.5 hours to go. Her phone rings. Maria. Any news? No. The police are investigating. Roman security hung up on me. And I'm driving through New Jersey at midnight on Christmas Eve trying to get to Detroit before. Her voice breaks. Before what? Before they show up? Before he sends them away? Before. Stacy, breathe. I can't breathe. My babies are out there with a stranger heading toward a man who called me a bed warmer, and I can't breathe. You're going to get there. You're going to find them. And they're going to be okay. How do you know? Because they're your kids. Which means they're smart, resourceful, and tougher than they look. They're 5, Maria. And they figured out how to order an Uber, steal your credit card, find their father's address, and execute a plan without you noticing. That's not nothing. Despite everything, Stacy almost laughs. I raised tiny criminal masterminds. You raised survivors. Just like their mother. Stacy wiped her eyes, refocuses on the highway. If anything happens to them, nothing's going to happen to them. If it does, I'll never forgive myself. I should have told them about Roman. I should have been honest instead of hiding. You were protecting them. Or I was protecting myself. From having to share them. From having to face what we could have been. Stacy, I need to go. I need to focus on driving. Call me when you get there. I will. Stacy hangs up and presses harder on the gas. Detroit is still 5 hours away. Her children are getting closer every minute. And Roman Wellington, the man she loved, the man who destroyed her, the father of her children, is waiting at the end of this terrible night. So here we are. 3 different vehicles converging on the same destination. Miguel's Honda Civic, carrying 3 5-year-olds who are about to change their father's entire world. Stacy's borrowed Toyota, carrying a mother who is equal parts terrified and furious. And Roman Wellington, already at his mansion, waiting in his study with a glass of scotch and 6 years of regret. What happens when they all arrive? What do you say when the past and present collide? How do you rebuild something that was never properly built in the first place? We're about to find out. The Honda Civic rolls up to the gates at precisely 1:33 a.m. The estate is lit up like a fortress, security lights, architectural lighting, the glow from windows in the main house. Miguel stops at the intercom. Before he can press the button, a voice comes through. Mr. Rodriguez? Mr. Wellington is expecting you. Please proceed to the main entrance. The gates swing open. Miguel looked back at the triplets, who are all awake now, staring at the massive house ahead of them. Last chance to turn back, he said. We didn't come this far to turn back, Zita says firmly. They drive up the long driveway, past perfectly manicured lawns and architectural lighting that makes everything look like a movie set. The house, mansion, really looms ahead. Glass and steel and angles that speak of money, so old it doesn't need to announce itself. Miguel parked in the circular drive. For a moment, nobody moved. Davina whispers, "It's really big. Our whole apartment could fit in his garage," Abel calculates. He has 3 garages, Zita pointed out, having done her research. Are we sure about this? Davina asked, clutching her stuffed penguin. Too late now, Abel said. The door just opened. And it has. Roman Wellington stands in the doorway of his mansion, backlit by interior lights, wearing a dress shirt and pants like he wasn't sure whether to dress up or down for meeting his secret children. He looked exactly like his pictures. Ice blue eyes, dark hair, strong jawline, Davina's eyes, Abel's analytical expression, Zita's determined stance. The triplets stared at him. He stares back. And for a long moment, nobody knows what to say. Then Zita does what Zita always does. She takes charge. She opens the car door, climbs out, and walks directly toward the man who is biologically her father, but has never been her dad. Mr. Wellington, she said formally, like she's conducting a business meeting. My name is Zita Martinez. These are my siblings, Abel and Davina. We're 5 years old. We were born June 15th, 2018, and according to DNA testing, you're our biological father. She pulled out the folder from her backpack and holds it out. Inside you'll find DNA test results showing a 99.9% match, our birth certificates listing Stacy Martinez as our mother, and photographs of us at various ages. We've also included an Uber receipt for $847, which we'd appreciate if you could reimburse our mother for, since we used her credit card without permission. Roman took the folder with hands that aren't quite steady, and opened it. DNA results. Birth certificates. Photos of 3 babies, 3 toddlers, 3 kindergartners. All with his eyes. He looks up at the 3 children standing in his driveway at 1:30 in the morning on Christmas Day. You took an Uber, he says, and his voice sounds strange even to himself. From Queens. Yes, sir, Abel confirms. It took 8 hours and 43 minutes, which was actually 17 minutes faster than my calculations predicted. We wanted to meet you, Davina adds quietly. Mom wouldn't tell us about you. So we found out ourselves. Roman crouches down, bringing himself to their eye level. Up close, the resemblance is unmistakable. They're his. These three brilliant, brave, slightly insane children are his. Does your mother know you're here? He asks. Not exactly, Zita admits. She's going to be really mad, Davina says. At us. And probably at you. We left a note, Abel offers. So she'd know we were safe. A note. It said, "Gone to meet Dad. Back soon. Love you." Roman makes a sound that's half laugh, half sob. She's going to kill all of us. Probably, Zita agrees. But we're here now. So hi, Dad. Dad. The word hits Roman like a physical blow. He has children. 3 children. Children who hijacked an Uber to meet him. Children who did something completely insane because they wanted him in their lives. Imanajas. I'm Roman. But I guess you knew that. We researched you, Abel says. You're worth $5.8 billion. You run Wellington Group, and you started a foundation for single mothers 18 months ago. We thought that last part was interesting, Zita adds. Given the circumstances. Roman looks at Miguel, who's been standing quietly beside the car this whole time. Thank you, Roman says, for bringing them safely. I'm not sure I did the right thing, Miguel admits. But they were pretty convincing. How much do I owe you? The $847 on the receipt. And maybe a confirmation that these really are your kids, because if they're not, I just committed a felony. Roman looks down at the DNA results. They're mine. Then we're good. Miguel hands Roman a business card. That's my number. You might want to call me when their mother shows up, because I have a feeling you're going to need a witness that they arrived safely. She's coming. She's been driving for 3 hours. She'll be here in about 4 more. How do you? She called your security. They called me to verify the Uber charge. I talked to her briefly. Let's just say she's not in a good mood. Roman closes his eyes. I'm sure she's not. Well, good luck. Miguel heads back to his car, then turns. For what it's worth. Those are good kids. Don't screw this up. I'll try not to. Miguel drives away, leaving Roman alone with 3 children he didn't know existed until an hour ago. The 4 of them stand in the driveway, and Roman has absolutely no idea what to do next. Are you going to invite us in? Zita asks. It's cold. Right. Yes. Of course. Roman steps back, gesturing to his house. Please. Come in. The triplets file past him into the marble foyer. They look tiny in his massive entry hall, 3 small figures surrounded by expensive emptiness. Your house is really big, Davina observes. It's too big, Roman admits. I don't really need all this space. Why do you have it then? Because I was trying to fill something that couldn't be filled with space. Zita gives him a look. That's weirdly honest. I'm learning that honesty might be important. It is, Abel confirms. Mom says lying is never worth it, even when the truth is hard. Your mom is smart. She is, all 3 say simultaneously. They stand in awkward silence. Then Roman says, Are you hungry? Thirsty. It's almost 2 in the morning. You must be exhausted. I'm not tired, Davina says, even though she's yawning. We're too nervous to be tired, Zita explains. Nervous about what? About whether you want us here. Roman's heart cracks. Of course I want you here. Do you? Abel tilts his head. Or are you just being polite? And this is why Roman is learning to appreciate honesty. I'm scared, he admits. I'm terrified, actually. Because I didn't know about you, which means I missed 6 years of your lives, which means I have no idea how to be your father. But yes, I want you here. Very much. The triplets exchange glances, that silent communication happening again. Then Davina steps forward and holds out the stuffed penguin. We got you this, she says shyly. As a present. For Christmas. Roman takes the penguin, and his eyes are burning. Thank you, he says quietly. It's perfect. Do you like penguins? I do now. Davina smiles, and it's like the sun coming up. And that's how it begins. Not with dramatic declarations or perfect words, but with a stuffed penguin, 3 exhausted children, and a man who's just discovered his entire life has been missing the most important thing: family. But this is only the beginning of the confrontation, because in approximately 4 hours, Stacy Martinez is going to arrive. And when she does, Roman Wellington is going to have to answer for 6 years of absence, 1 cruel dismissal, and the fact that he has 3 children he never knew about because he destroyed the woman carrying them. How do you apologize for that? How do you explain? How do you even begin? Roman doesn't know. But he's about to find out. Because Stacy Martinez is coming. And she is not coming in peace. This story is dedicated to everyone who's ever taken a chance on someone who didn't deserve it, and to everyone who's worked like hell to prove that chance wasn't wasted. Second chances are real, but only if you earn them. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to our channel.